Welcome, everybody. Today we have a very special guest.
I knew early on that I wanted to make movies.
Such a difficult industry because there's a lot of luck involved.
I mean, look at American Werewolf in London, look at The Thing, look at The Fly. Look at these films that have really withstood the test of time.
I sculpted this Captain Kirk mask, and they didn't sell particularly well, but then John Carpenter came in, said, can you paint one white and spray paint his hair black?
I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and it scared the living shit out of me.
You're just racking up these people that you grew up watching. They're in your films. Is that surreal?
There were 35 directors there. If there had been a bomb dropped on that restaurant, never another good horror movie.
Benet's Bloody Bits.
I've gone crazy today. This is my second live stream in the last 4 hours, but I'm joined by a very special guest, Alfonso Salazar, also known on YouTube as Fonso13. Welcome, sir.
What's up, Jason? How you doing? Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Okay, just so people know, we're both in Southern California and we're dying. The weather is bad. We got the AC cranking, but I don't think you guys can hear it.
Right. I got my fan going in the background, so yeah, apologies if you can hear it. But yeah.
So are you at home or are you at Spirit Halloween?
This is my house. This is my man cave. This is where I do my videos and hauls, yes.
Just messing with you. I know this is what we're here to talk about, collecting and signing. And so what I want to know is, do you remember how we met?
We met at Comic-Con in line for the screening of Chillerama. Do you remember that?
That's good. I didn't know if you were going to remember it. We did not rehearse this, people. So
I totally remember.
The last Comic-Con I went to was 2011. I was there with Killer Films, so it was me and Donnie Broussard, the owner, and we're in line for the world premiere of Chillerama, which is this really fun horror anthology. By the way, I'm in it in a couple episodes.
That's right.
And Donnie got talking to a couple people behind him, and one of them was you.
Yeah.
And then
that's right.
What do you do? He asked if you wanted to write or do a podcast. How did you become with Killer Film?
We were just talking, and I think I followed the news on Twitter that they were going to do the screening. So I was like, oh, I want to check this out because there's a lot of cool horror directors, actors. I think Lynn Shay was hanging out at the lobby too. Met her there, and we started talking about movies. And I told her I was with my cousin Tony, who I still do the Bad Boys podcast with. After all these years, we're already over 700 episodes, which is wild to think.
Damn.
So yeah. So we were doing that, and he was like, "Oh, I've been thinking about starting a podcast." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys should maybe do a podcast for us." And that's how we started talking, and that's kind of how we got involved with Killer Film back then.
So Bad Boys podcast, that's still available?
That's still available. Yeah, you go on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Yeah, we're there. We're still, me and my buddy Harley and Tony, we're still reviewing a new movie and an old movie, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, 700 episodes, that's pretty wild. Yeah.
And sadly, because Killer Film got, I don't know, it went bye-bye. So all those podcasts that you did, which was the Killer Film podcast, right?
It was a Killer Cast. Yeah, it was Killer Class. Yeah, because then you were doing late night classics with him. It was like they're all gone. But see, Tony was smart. He kept ours catalog. Like we were still like our own entity essentially. So we had like our own. So we were still doing two. So we did that one and we still did our own. So, but I think those episodes, you're right. I think unless you go on iTunes and look them up, I'm not sure if they're still there.
There is a website I found out about called the Wayback Machine.
Uh-huh.
You can visit it and put in Killer Film, and I was able to find a bunch of old interviews.
Oh, wow.
Even from the late night podcast, which could always be transferred to print or something. So just so you know, they're not completely gone. But I had Donnie on here about a couple weeks ago, and he said like a Russian, it's always the Russians' fault. Like the site got hacked and it's gone, and it would cost thousands of dollars to go to court. So it's kind of, that's what I love about YouTube, and we're here talking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So was Comic-Con your first conventions you were going to?
I want to say, back in like 2006 or 5, around there, when House of a Thousand Corpses, they had a panel, and I was so excited to see that. And I got to go to that panel, and that panel was amazing. It had Rob Zombie, Sherry Moon, rest in peace, Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, rest in peace, Irwin Keyes, Chris Hardwick, and Wayne Toth. And it was like the greatest like Q&A ever. And they're like, and it was one of the smaller panels. So like I was like really close to him. I mean, it was incredible. And then he did a signing afterwards where you can actually go to a signing afterwards and not get a ticket or wait and look a long line. It was just like after, like, hey, come down, you're going to be signing. And sure enough, he signed stuff. So it was really cool.
Were you local to San Diego, or were you making the drive down from LA?
No, I'm local to San Diego, yeah. So San Diego Comic-Con was super close, yeah. When I got to go to LA, that's a 2-hour drive. That's a little
okay, so you're the opposite. When Comic-Con comes around, you're good to go.
Absolutely.
Now, when you're driving up to Monsterpalooza, Fangoria, Weekend of Horrors, Dark Delicacies, and trust me, people, it's Southern California, but it's a drive.
You have to leave early. If I leave past 10 a.m., I'm stuck in traffic forever. Yeah. But I did go to one Weekend of Horrors like in 2006 when Dario Argento was there, and that's maybe 2009.
I think, you're closer to 9. Yeah,
but that was the last one, right? Because they stopped doing those.
Yeah, Creation Entertainment is very difficult to work with, and Forever Fangoria was combined with them.
Okay.
They did split. I think it was over, probably money and stuff. And then when they left, Monsterpalooza just ran in. But I felt like, how many Fangoria Weekend of Horrors did you attend?
They only did one. Yeah, it was Dario.
Just the Dario, which Dario never did LA.
Right.
That was the only one.
That was huge.
I went to every horror convention in Southern California from 1999 to 2017.
Yeah.
That was the year that Dario came, Lamberto Bava, Ruggero Deodato, who's passed away, David Hess, who was there, no longer with us. That was like, I call it the Italian invasion. It was
absolutely.
And you know what? It kind of bothered me at one point. Dario was walking around, and this is like a rock star.
Right.
And there was nobody really following him.
Nobody knew who he was.
So bizarre.
So crazy. Yeah, see, that's wild. Yeah. And then you look at those flyers for those old ones, you see that lineup is impressive. It's so insane. Like how many people that they would get, you know what I mean?
I do have a Dario story. I stayed at the hotel, the Marriott, because that was in Burbank.
Right.
Sunday morning, my wife and I are eating breakfast, and we see Dario and his translator not far away. And the translator, I'm familiar with him, and Dario comes over with broken English. I got jet lag, do you have something to help me sleep? And so my wife went up to the hotel room and brought him something. And I said, if you kill Dario Argento with some fucking medicine that you gave him, I am going to be on the run forever.
Oh, my, seriously.
This was the lady that killed Dario Argento.
Oh my God.
Pills, but he's not a spring chicken.
Right.
You don't know how people are going to react.
Was she wearing black gloves when she handed it to him too? It was like,
that was all Chiali, dude.
Yeah,
she had the black gloves. She got the switchblade out, and
that's awesome.
But no, I have great memories of Fangoria.
Absolutely.
I did do Monsterpalooza for a few years, but I felt like it was more of a trade show. What did you think of Monsterpalooza?
When I first, I still go. Yeah, I still love it. Especially the one in Burbank. That's like the first one I've been to was the Burbank Marriott. I just love that venue. Had that little courtyard in the middle where everyone hangs out with the little bar outside. And I've just met so many people there and so many guests that Monsterpalooza has a special place in my heart, especially because the special effects artists are the rock stars. Like their work is presented. We have that super cool museum, right? And then we get to meet the guys that created. Like we have V. Neal, Academy Award winner, doing makeup, a live demo in front of you, right? Stan Winston Studios is there, right? You got Matt, Stan's kid there. So as a fan of like practical effects in 80s movies, like it's everything, right? Palooza is awesome, and they still do that, right? Which is really cool.
Do you remember the Fangoria shows when you would walk in and you get all the free swag, and you would literally have a bag, and there'd be like 11 by 17 posters, and you're just going through and buttons, and I miss that connection. Monsterpalooza is great, but Fangoria had the in with the studios because of Tony Timpone, who was the editor at the time.
Right.
He was able to get people. I miss the panels. As much as I love old movies and retrospectives, I like, we're going to talk about, The Devil's Rejects, or we're going to talk about Drag Me to Hell.
Right.
And we're going to talk about the new stuff. And I felt I got spoiled in all those years. And I kind of, Monsterpalooza just kind of was missing that fire in my belly was gone. But what I appreciate about you, because I do watch your videos, you haven't lost it. Why haven't you lost it? Why isn't that burning desire that fanboy and pictures and getting autographs? It doesn't seem to have left you like it left me.
Yeah, it's it's getting there. That's funny. It's getting there now because it's we keep seeing the same guest list, and that's one of the problems when you've been doing it for so long. As like yourself, that you see those lineups like, man, I've seen this lineup like 100 times already, right? We need to see new faces. It's getting a little old. Like, man, how many times can we see such guests, this guest, and this guest? Like, we've seen them 100 times. We've been doing it for so long, you get to see that. But to go back real quick, Tony Timpone has been doing a lot of Monsterpalooza panels. And then this last year, he did a panel for Alien Romulus. And they had a little poster, and we got to meet Fede Alvarez, the director, and Shema Honda did the effects, and they did a signing like after the panel, which was really cool. So if they can do more things like that, that's really neat, Same with Rick Baker. He was promoting his book. He did a signing right afterwards, and that was really neat. You know,
that's the power of Tony Timpone and that Fangoria brand, because he was there from like the late 80s to like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And he just developed that relationship with the studios.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you feel like that Monsterpalooza, now you're right about the burnout, because once you do these conventions for so many years, I love Bill Moseley, I love Reggie Bannister, and you know, you're like, but how many times can you see them? Can you talk about the pricing, how it's gone up? I understand inflation happens across the board.
Right.
But between the parking, the tickets to get in, because I came from the old school era of selfies weren't a thing.
Right.
At least they didn't cost you anything. So I remember being able to meet like Eli Roth or whoever, and that wasn't part of it because photo ops didn't exist. That was a creation entertainment thing. So I remember paying for parking. I remember paying to get in, not a big deal. I used to get the front row seats, the reserve.
Oh, nice.
But when they branched off into the photo ops, I think that was the game changer that really cost fans a lot of money. Do you remember that time when it kind of...
I'm trying to remember, if there was like a photo op with somebody in costume, like a Kane Hodder in a Jason costume, you know, that might have changed that. But the one that's huge now is the Terrifier, David Howard Thornton dressed up as Art the Clown. That movie's so huge with this new generation of fans that they love it. They want to be there and meet them. Like there was an opportunity to meet the Screamcast at Monsterpalooza. So I jumped on that and do the photo op with that because that was incredible. So things like that, I didn't mind doing that. But I think the biggest change of price is the resellers with the Funko Pops and the figures that really changed the game, because a lot of times you want to get the signature, but then they don't treat you as a fan. They treat you as a reseller. So if you want to add your name or personalization or a quote, they're charging for quotes and personalization. Or like Corey Feldman at the Hollywood show, he would charge a price for non-personalization. So if you don't want your name on it, he's going to charge you even more, which is wild. Right. He used to always write your name, you know?
And I understand that, because if it just says Corey Feldman, not to Alfonso, you can sell it if it says Corey Feldman and make a good profit.
Right.
That happened. Rick Baker, this is like the year 2000.
Yeah.
He did not want to do signings after a panel he did with John Landis, because Rick Baker got some award from Fangoria.
Yeah.
And I could see he was resisting going to the table. And when he finally did go to the table, he was really rude to somebody. He literally said out loud, he's just probably going to sell it on eBay or something. So you do hear stuff, you know, and I try to balance the good with the bad. But
you can tell the difference between a scalper and a fan, though, right? Like if a fan, I'm like, I got like a certain special piece. I'm like, oh my God, I want this sign, right? Or as opposed to like 12 8x10s or 12 Funko open case boxes. Like, okay, who's the real fan? This guy holding this one print or this guy holding 12 prints? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And also, so let me ask you this. What are like 3 of the best people, when you think about the greatest memories you've had at a convention, who are like the 3 people that you're like, man, that's going to stick with me till the day I die because they were so nice to me?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Kane Hodder's always been cool, you know, even though his price has gone up, but he always has a great experience. I've never gone to the Adult Expo convention.
Dude, hey.
That would be fun.
That would be Shannon Pamperin.
Yes, he's gone a couple times. Watch his. Go to his channel. He's the expert. Yeah, go to
he's the porn guy.
He's the guy.
He makes you look like me, like you don't even go to conventions.
Exactly. Like, oh yeah, I'm a lame compared to him. Yeah, Shannon's the expert. You want AVA coverage? Go Shannon. But I would say Kane Hodder for sure. Who else would be a really cool one? God, I'm trying to think. Felissa Rose is always a sweetheart, right? She was always really neat. Sid Haig was really cool too. Like he kept his price to like at $20 or $25, like till like his last appearance, which was crazy. I'm trying to think if I ever really had any bad experience, but most of the time when we're just getting autographs and talking to them, it's just a really cool experience. Like you get to meet the people that worked on movies that you grew up watching, right? So you finally get to meet them. Like sometimes you get nervous, like, oh my God, what am I going to say? But yeah, I would say Kane Hodder's a good one. I'm trying to think who else. Felissa's always been really sweet. Just recently too. Oh, Michael Ironside was funny. Oh, Bucket List?
Oh yeah. Go to Michael Ironside because I watched that video. Was he being crotchety? What was up with that?
No. Yeah, I think that's like his demeanor, right? He's kind of scary, So I kind of was worried about. And I told him my name, and he's like, "How the f am I going to spell that?" Like, I don't know if we can curse on here, but I told him my name. He's like, okay. Good, he was like, "How am I going to spell that?" And he goes, "What's your name?" I go, "Alfonso." And he goes, "How the fuck am I going to spell that?" I was like, "Oh shit." I mean, this is Richter from Total Recall, right? This is like Mike, from Scanners, Starship Trooper, like Michael Ironside's a legend, right? Absolutely. So I was super excited to have him sign my vinyl soundtrack, and I was like, oh my god, this is making me nervous. But no, he was super cool, and just signed it, got a picture. But just I just kept that really like mean. I gave him one of my paint pens, so he was very appreciative, and he gave me a free 8x10, so that was cool because his pen had run out or something. But that was a really cool experience.
I don't know if he was new to cons, but in all the years I went, I never seen him. I know he's based in Canada.
Okay.
That was one of the rare times he came down.
Right. When I saw his name, like, yep, definitely getting him. Absolutely. Yeah. So something like that, right? When you see a name like that, you're like, oh, got to get him, right? Because Palooza will get some weird names sometimes, like it's like you want to expect it,
So who was like bucket list? Who are a couple people that you're like, I need to get these people before they leave this planet?
Oof. Kurt Russell be a big one.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
He's done that. I mean, the Thing is like, one of the greatest horror remakes of all time. Love to get him. Anyone living from the Crow cast, like that's my favorite movie of all time. So if I could add any more signatures from the Crow cast,
that's exactly why in the thumbnail I put the Crow, because I know
appreciate that
it's your number one movie of all time, regardless.
It's all since I first saw it in '94 when it came out, it just blew me away, changed my it's been my everything since then. The soundtrack, the score, Brandon's performance, the direction, the look of it, everything. I just absolutely adore that movie. Really quick,
I would have to go. I've seen him in person, but not met him. David Cronenberg is definitely probably like the top one.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, I did get to meet a lot of people that are no longer with us. Stuart Gordon,
yes,
Wes Craven, Toby Hooper.
I would have loved to have met Wes and Toby. Yeah,
the list, it kind of breaks my heart when I think about it. But this is why it is good to go to signings and conventions, because you just don't know how long you're going to have these people.
That's the thing. When I saw George Romero at Palooza, I think it was 2016 or something. I was standing in line, I looked at his price. I'm like, man, he's pretty pricey. I'm like, but he smokes a lot. He's really old, and I hate to sound morbid, right? You don't want to sound like that, but I'm like, if I don't get him now, I'm probably going to totally regret this. So I bit the bullet. I had a lobby card, original Night of the Living Dead lobby card. So I had him sign that, and it's one of my favorite signatures. It's like, man, I'm so glad I got that, and the photo with him.
I got my picture. I think it's the same one, and literally. Our glasses we both had Coke bottle glasses. We could switch glasses. And I just looked at him like, oh my God, there's my future. The difference is I'm bald. He's got a full head of hair with a ponytail. I miss those guys. So those memories, especially as you get older, you really start to go, man, I don't know, like a Sid Haig or whoever, like I might not see this person again. So it's really important to kind of hold on to those memories.
Absolutely.
And for me, I was never big into autographs. I know you're huge. I was more a photo op guy just because I got that physical evidence.
Right.
That I was next to them. And sometimes I go back and I'll create a collage of them. And I'm like, man, that person's gone. That person's gone. Not to be too sad out there, people, but this is the reality of life. Right. We lose famous people on a daily basis. It's really good not to take people for granted. And luckily, as horror fans, we have, especially living in Southern California, we're absolutely got it so good. We can meet these people 3 or 4 times a week, whether it's a screening or whatever.
Or Dark Delicacies.
Before I forget, if you want to name names, what are some bad experiences that you're like, I never want to fucking talk to that person again?
Oh, man.
Kane Hodder was rude to me.
Is that right? Oh, wow.
He was rude to me. Bruce Campbell's always been a dick. He's always been
Bruce was kind of, he was kind of weird too when I first met him at a book signing.
That's his shtick.
Right.
That's how he's in the movies. No, that's the guy that will go to a convention and he'll hide from the fans in his hotel room once he's done with whatever. He's not one to mingle or do meet and greets. And I love Evil Dead like everybody else, but let's just call it like it is. He's not very nice.
Yeah. We went to his book signing at Dark Delicacies. Shout out to Sue and Dale, that's the best store in Burbank. And then he was doing a book signing, so I got it signed. And it has a terrible signature too, by the way. That's like a lightning bolt, right? It's like, what is that? Right? And he writes Ash. It's like, it's terrible signature. But he would sign one extra item after you bought the book, right? So some other people were coming back in line. He's like, he looked at his handler friend. He's like, oh, looks like we got the repeaters. Got the second people coming back. It's like, God forbid fans want to get you to sign their stuff. You know what I mean?
Benet's bucket list has David S. Sterling on it.
Oh, man, he's always at Palooza walking around. I can get him for you, no problem.
Malcolm, he used to go when I would do the Delirium signings at Dark Delicacies, which we're going to talk about real soon. Yeah. David Sterling was always there with his mullet, thinking it was 1988. He would,
hey guys,
and he would always joke with me, could you interview me? And I'm like, I would just change the subject. I hate it to be rude, but I like bad movies. But then there's David Sterling and Sean C. Phillips levels of bad, and I just can't go down that road. Sorry.
You have much better time to do. We have better things to do in your time.
And I think the key is, okay, we have conventions which, there's usually some money.
There's a lot of them popping up now, right? There's a lot more than there was before.
But I think what's smart, and you've taken advantage of it, which I have, is you can narrow that gap by going to Dark Delicacies for signings, the Aero Theater, New Beverly, the Vista, because the theaters are relatively small. Right. When the Q&A is done, you can approach them. And I've never been told no. Right. I did Aero Theater. Toby Hooper was there for a screening of Poltergeist.
Right. Yeah.
Wes Craven was there for a live audio commentary of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nice.
Did you start to seek out those more? Those more
I did.
intimate moments?
When I started going to Beyond Fest, yeah, they have amazing guests, amazing movies are premiering, and then afterwards, yeah, you see them at the lobby or go up to the stage afterwards after the Q&A. They would sign stuff. I've met a lot of people like that. I've gotten a lot of stuff signed just doing that. But there was one recent altercation at the Arrow or the Vista where somebody was fighting. So now they kind of got a little strict on like doing stuff like that now. So they kind of ruined it for somebody. Yeah.
You said there was some fighting?
There was a fight. Yeah, there might have been a little fight. Yeah. Altercation.
So there were nerds fighting over something?
It was like two guys. There was two of them. Yeah. One of them was kind of get autograph, and one of them was like, it was getting a little pushy, and they got started shoving each other, and it got to the floor where they were wrestling, and they had to get broken up. Yeah.
What was it like? Was somebody?
I wasn't there. It's what I heard though. That's the story I heard. Yeah. But I think there was video out there. Somebody might have had it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than doing that in front of a celebrity. That's going to make them never want to do that again. Because
exactly, it's like, seriously, what do you do? You're ruining it for everybody. It's like, yeah.
There was one Fangoria where Brad Dourif was there, and he didn't do a lot of talking.
That's a bucket list. I still haven't met him. He never comes down here.
Well, yeah, because this is probably like early 2000s, between like 2000 2005.
Yeah.
But I watched some geek scream at the top of his lungs,
"Oh no,
Brad Dourif!" But he started doing this bow thing, and the look on Brad's face, he probably never did a convention after that.
So it's that guy's fault. He's never been out here then, because guys, I still haven't seen him out here.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that's why these people don't come back, because they lump us all and see how these fans are, and
and there's a difference too. Right, there's a difference too of the people that are waiting outside to get autographs, right? Of like the reseller scalpers, right? Where I paid a ticket for the movie to watch the screening and did the Q&A afterwards, right? So it's like there's a difference, right? I'm actually inside the theater, watch the movie that you're promoting, as opposed to waiting outside to get your photo and a signature from it,
Talk about Dark Delicacies in Burbank, California. I've been going. They've moved 3 different locations.
They have, yeah.
I first started.
All of them, yeah.
That seems to be your go-to spot, just because they do them on every weekend. Not necessarily every signing is going to be up your alley, but
right.
Talk about you and these people behind me, the Monster Squad, Scott, Chris. Talk about
they started videos. Chris Deranged Duncan, he's been doing videos since way before me, and so did Christian, my buddy Christian Weapon X. So yeah, they've been doing videos forever. So I kind of followed their lead, and they were because the first Dark Dale I went to, so shout out to Sue and Dale obviously too, because and it's good to see Dell back on his feet too. But yeah, they had the best store ever, and I think I saw it on like a magazine or on Twitter or something. They were promoting like Robert Englund signing his book there. So it was like on a Thursday night. I called my cousin up like, "Hey, Tony," and we're like, "Hey, we got to go. I got to meet Robert Englund. My friend. I've never met him." So we seriously drove at night. It was raining. Got there, a long line. And I'm like, "This store is the best. You guys hold signing. It's incredible." So I started following them ever since. I met Sid Haig there for the first time. I met Michael Dougherty. Him and Dave Parker were doing a double feature of like the Trick or Treat had just come out on Blu-ray, and Dave Parker had his Hills Run Red, and he was there with David Scow, who David Scow helped write the screenplay for The Crow. So another geek out moment for me there. And the store is just amazing. So like I said, it's run by Sue and Doug. They've been doing it for they're coming close to like 35 years, I think, pretty much. And yeah, they've been holding signings forever. They've had the who's who of names. They've had Wes Craven, John Carpenter. They've had everybody there, right? Everyone's gone through there. If you're a horror fan, the horror community, of Dark Delicacies, especially if you live in that area. Oh man, they have like the greatest signings. I mean, the Phantasm one just recently, the signing for the Masters, it was a special effects book by Howard Berger. That was an incredible signing. I mean, yeah, they're the best. I love those guys. I'll support them, until they close the doors. Unfortunately, it's going to be this year, unfortunately.
Okay, I was going to ask, is that true? Is he retiring?
They're retiring, yeah. This is their last year, yeah. They wanted to hit the 35-year mark.
So Sue and Dale Howison are done. So without Dark Delicacies, that leaves a huge void.
Huge void.
The
yes.
community, yeah, we still have the conventions, but this was a nice.
This one's special. Yes, exactly.
It's more intimate because it's a smaller location. No matter how big the guest is, you're going to get to them if you have patience.
Yep.
So nobody's going to. There's no family that's going to continue. It's done.
We keep trying to tell Guillermo del Toro to buy it, or somebody else to come in and chip in, and I don't know.
Well,
I
I also think that without the signings, they probably would have closed a long time ago. Really.
I think so too.
Just think about it. No offense, but it's kind of like, look, I've written for a magazine forever. We're in a digital streaming age, and not many people go into bookstores to buy books. I know Dark Delicacies has other stuff like board games and shirts and novelties, but that's a very tough industry. Without those signings, I don't think they've been around 35 years.
Yeah, they've had a wonderful community. Right, exactly. The Blu-ray release, a vinyl release. They've made so many friends. So whenever a director like Mike Mendes has a new movie, like Satanic Hispanics, they get a bunch of cast members there, right? And they show up and they'll premiere. They'll have a release there, or documentaries, or soundtracks on vinyl. They've had composers there. They have just a huge guest list, right? Of who's who, and they have such a black book of guests. Like they can always, Mick Garris, you've had him on your show, like they're friends with everybody. Tom Holland, they're friends with everyone. That's the cool part,
Is there an official date of when they're going to close so they can have like a goodbye?
April.
Okay, so April of 2025, they're going to close.
Mm-hmm. I know
bring the tissue, right? Because it's just the end of an era.
It's it's especially for us horror fans and the horror kids. It's just it's going to be a sad day. That's why I try to go as many as I can, now before they close up shop, because it's nothing like it. I mean, that the whole Magnolia Boulevard is just a horror, horror street. It's just it's always been amazing, right? From the Mystic Museum to Halloween Town, Darkdale. When even Creature Features, remember Creature Features?
Yes,
that was a fun store too. They had signings there too, right? And then
they gone too?
Yeah, they're gone. They've been gone a long time.
I do remember going there. They had great stuff. They were like even bigger than Dark Delicacies, but I guess maybe the rent was too expensive, or maybe that guy retired.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was. It kept going up and up.
So out of all your collection, is there a couple that stand out like, I cannot live without this? I'm so glad I got this. Because let me turn off my green screen for a second. Okay. So in 2009,
yes,
I went to a screening at the Aero Theater of The Stuff.
Oh,
1985.
Nice. Yes.
Larry Cohen was there.
Nice.
And he actually brought some of the
canisters?
Stuff cartons.
Oh, very
cool. Screen used. So when he was done with the Q&A, he had maybe 3 or something. And he would ask, who wants one? And they're signed by him.
Nice.
And so my hand went up so damn quick.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
There's his signature right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Larry Cohen.
He had a signing at Dark Delicacies for his documentary, and he brought some more canisters.
Oh, I'm sure they had thousands, but I feel like
what if that screen used?
He said that everything he brought was screen used.
Oh, nice.
Because think about it, when there's a scene in the factory,
there's tons of them.
Had thousands of them. But I thought that was nice. But what out of your collection is 1 or 2 things that you're like, this is like going to be hard to top?
Oh, my Halloween one, because there's people that are no longer with us, like Jim Winburn, sons, and Charles Cyphers, who we just lost too. And then I got Jamie Lee Curtis on there, luckily, so that's a big one.
And she doesn't do a lot of that stuff, so
no. Yeah, she only did that one at Horror Hound way back when, and that was it. Everyone thought she'd be at the age 45, and she wasn't there. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I brought some out.
Did you ever get Deborah Hill or no?
No, I never
got
Deborah
Hill. She passed away before.
Yeah, she started before that. So I have this Clockwork Orange Elp soundtrack signed by Malcolm McDowell, and he wrote Video Well. See that? So that's pretty cool.
Your vinyl collection is probably as big as your Blu-ray collection.
Exactly. So my Your Next right here with Barbara Crampton, Sharni Benton, Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett, other producers, actors. That was at a screening.
There was a poster of that artwork. Is really great. It's like a schematic of the house. And
that was really cool. Yeah. And Dark Delicacies had a signing, and I got a John Landis on American Werewolf. This lithograph, Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I got to meet Edward Furlong at Monster Palooza. I got him to sign my figure there. John Connor there. That's pretty cool. So things like that. I kind of like vinyl soundtracks, toys. But I mean, this one right here, I'm thinking maybe getting John an original sealed Halloween soundtrack. I don't know though. I'm free to open it. But anything like get rid of, it's probably ones I had more signatures on would be the Halloween one for sure, and anything Crow related. I got David Scow, and I can get it more people on it. I definitely will. But there's just so much stuff, right? It's like your kid. Like I don't know, how do I pick one, right? But that one I've worked on the most, my Halloween and my Scream one. So.
Well, that makes sense because this is not just one autograph. Even if it was John Carpenter, that's cool. But you got a ton of people.
Yeah, I got a ton on that Halloween one.
Years, which is taking a lot of money. And time.
And it was cheaper back then too, though. So it's funny you should say that, because it has gone up now, right? Yeah.
Because I know you probably set aside out of your paycheck, you budget. I can't break the bank, but because.
I gotta be smart. I gotta be smart about it. I got a budget, right? Yeah. So I gotta stop buying like other stuff. If I'm just getting autographs at a convention, that's my main focus. I love to support some vendors and get some T-shirts or other things. If I'm strictly getting autographs, like that's it. That's my goal, right? And I just like the way it looks, right? Especially on the vinyl, it's just a nice display. On DVDs, it's kind of hard. On the names start getting squished in. Like I went to a Christine Blu-ray signing. They had a ton of people in Dark Delicacies. I mean, they had Alexandra. They had Willem Ostrander. I mean, people that did the special effects, producers, and they had the car outside. That was one of my favorite signings Dark Hill ever had. And that Blu-ray is signed up everywhere, front and back. You can't even see who's who, at that point. But I'm super happy I got it because that was fun. And that picture with the car, from the Fury, I mean, come on. It doesn't get
Before I forget, please like, share, and subscribe to my humble little channel. Where can people find you on YouTube, Alfonso?
Yeah, that's right. Just type in FONSO 13 on YouTube, and if you guys like conventions and watching me being goofy and getting autographs with my friends like that, follow me on FONSO 13 on YouTube.
Yeah, so like me, I do everything in the house because I just don't want to go anywhere. But Alfonso actually makes a point to go out, drive around, so you truly get an out and about experience. And he does stuff at home with unboxings and stuff, but you're going to get more of an interactive experience watching FONSO 13. I will put a link in the description of this video.
I appreciate that. I think the last time I saw you was at Monsterpalooza too, right? Was that your last one when we were in line?
I probably 2017, 2016.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah. You were done then. You told me.
Over in I think Pasadena, which when it got bigger, Monsterpalooza jumped back to Pasadena, which had a better venue because
that's Monsterpalooza, then Burbank still hosts Son of Monsterpalooza.
I will say this because I've watched people's videos. Yeah. Though I don't go to the conventions anymore, that scene is bigger than it's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
The money that's being made, the crowds, the people in droves. Oh, yeah. So, but this is why, one, we're friends. We haven't talked in a while, but I tend to be more on the negative side of the convention scene because I feel like I got burned and, got a little bit bitter about it. But I wanted to bring on somebody like you, which is the counter opposite of, you still haven't let it get to you, but you're starting to feel a little bit of the burnout. Little bit,
yeah. But then I get excited when I see a guest list. I'm like, oh, I got to get this item signed, and then it changes all over again. I'm like a little kid again on Christmas. So,
but I want to make sure I thank everybody for watching. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Alfonso. Let's talk again.
Absolutely,
maybe you can drag me to a convention somehow. Get me out of my.
Get you out of your comfort zone. Absolutely. Maybe when it gets a little cooler. How about that?
Not sad to say, get me out of comfort zone because there's nothing more comfortable than
you and AC. Though that's true.
I had signed 8x10s of my favorite porn stars, but somehow they got water damage. Yeah, we know what kind of water damage you're talking about, buddy.
Maybe we'll go to the AVN together. How about that? Want to go to that? Vegas?
Porn con. That would be interesting. I will wear
You've never been, right? You've never been?
I haven't, but I will wear a full-size body condom so I don't catch any cooties.
Hey, didn't that happen to you in Chillerama, though? Didn't something happen to you similar?
Oh, my God. Okay, really quickly, spoiler alert, I don't have a banner for this. If you've never seen Chillerama, the segment Wadzilla by Adam Rifkin. By the way, I'm going to have Adam Rifkin on the channel probably really soon to do a career retrospective. Yes. But at the end of Wadzilla, which is basically a sperm that becomes the size of Godzilla, hence the title Wadzilla, at the end of the episode when they kill him, basically he blows up and it's a major cum shot, jizz shot, all over like
the money shot. Let's call it the money shot.
It's the money shot. And you see somebody in a firefighter outfit that just just goes like this and takes it like
you just take it all in.
Just like Peter North was in front of me. I took it and it hits me and there's my 15 minutes of fame. Look for me in Wadzilla episode of Chillerama.
Will you sign my Chillerama poster? Or next time I
will
see you?
sign it, you know, Jizz Master Jason.
Oh, no.
But hey, man, thank you again for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
I've seen this scene. It's Bené's favorite moment in life.
There you go. See? Yeah, it hasn't gotten any better since, right? Yeah.
Forget the birth of my daughter. That is the moment that I got. Let me tell you, that guy stood up on top of a bucket.
Yeah.
On top of a ladder.
What did they use?
I hope they didn't use the real thing. I don't think it was the real thing.
I heard the crew and all of them got together and they doing the bucket like.
But what happened was the guy before me, and he's actually the guy before me in the scene, he kind of ducked and they kind of got mad at him and said, look, we can't really see you. So I made the point, said, hey, just enjoy this. You're going to be in a movie. And
this is my 10 minutes right here. Right.
It took, when I went home, I got that shit in my ears. It was everywhere. But you know what? I would do it all over again. I don't regret a thing. But thank you for coming on. I'm gonna let you go because we got family.
Weird choice of words there. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming on. CUMING. Thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me again, man. I really appreciate this. Good seeing you. Good talking to you again.
Take care, buddy.
All right.